Welcome to episode 205 of the Daniel Yoris podcast with today's guest, Adam Gould. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Joined here by my friend Adam Gould. Adam, thank you very much for being here, man, and thank you for your patience in getting this going.
Yeah, that was a interesting start. Shout out to Riverside. Really great. I love wonderful customer support.
The listeners of this podcast, regular listeners, will know that I've been complaining about Riverside over the past several months. And I don't complain openly just for the sake of complaining, but it's part of it is a little bit of just I need to get it off my chest, but part of it is also just giving an insight into what goes into a podcast and what goes into this. And I think it's kind of related, if I can bring us on that tangent, to say that it's related to fitness and the inner things that happen in the day-to-day life of a fit, quote-unquote fit person, and this is what happens. And so sometimes there's tech issues and it's taken us 45 minutes just to get here and they didn't even solve the issue, but it's not perfect and we're going to let it roll anyway. So appreciate you being here and thank you again, man.
Yeah, I mean, the complaints are warranted, but yeah, it's a good analogy though, with that, if we circle it back to health and fitness, well shit, it's never perfect, right? There's always going to have ups and downs. I like the saying, I always say it all the time, consistency is better than failure, right? Because a lot of people, they try to go 0 to 60, and then they'll have some motivation, couple days, maybe a couple weeks, but eventually motivation fades, and what actually helps is building a habit and then building consistency, and then that's what turns into a lifestyle change, which most people fail at.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing, is there's always a question about how do you stay motivated? And I think that maybe because it's been said so many times now, but again, maybe just in fitness circles, it's motivation is not really the right word. Every day that we go to the gym, I don't feel I'm fucking fired up, let's go. Some days you definitely are, and as a trainer, probably more often than the average person out there, just because this is our job and this is what we do, but not every single day. Most of the time, you just do it because it's what you do. It's just part of who you are and the things that you do, and you just kind of get it done. But we weren't always born like that. We weren't always like that. Would you say that that's the same for you, or were you always fired up? I know that you had your journey that we'll definitely talk about, but explain how your relationship with motivation to exercise is right now.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. A perfect example is today, this morning. So the first thing is it's just a matter of building the habit. And a lot of people, they get overwhelmed thinking they need to work out 7 times an hour or 7 times a week. And that's not really necessary. Twice a week, honestly, for most people is a great starting point. And then maybe just schedule the time, the same day, same time. Cause then that's again, kind of building the habit and make it a non-negotiable, time block it, put on your calendar, bingo bango. But yeah, bro, you're not always going to have an amazing workout. If we did statistics, maybe if you work out 10 times, I'd say, at least with me, maybe 6 of them were really good workouts. And then the others, there's going to be 2 of them that are mid tier, and then 2 of them are just shit. Right. And I'm huge on transparency and being authentic. And so this morning, yeah, okay, I'm a fitness coach and I literally I did a third of my workout this morning. Right. But still fundamentally, it's better than not. Right. I don't know why, but is it really recently, unless I'm I have a home gym, so I work out in my house. But unless I'm at a gym, sometimes I just lose motivation. I guess it's just because I can kind of stop working out and then just go work. And it just, sometimes I have so much to do. I'd rather work than work out. And, but still that 1/3 of a workout is better than not. Right. And I think a lot of people lose sight on that if they're oh, I don't want to go to the gym, or, oh my God, it's so time consuming, or I'm not motivated. Just get off the couch or get off the chair from your desk and go for a 5-minute workout. And chances are, very high likelihood, once you just start the workout, you will go longer than that. And even if you don't, that's fine. But chances are very high you will.
Yeah, agreed. The best advice for that is, again, just get through your warm up, just do that, and then see what happens after that. And you'll most likely want to at least continue some of it. And after that, at that point, if you really still don't want to do it, then call it quits and move on and come back again the next day. The consistency over time is the thing that matters the most. And it's kind of cliche to say, but it is true that something is definitely better than nothing. Now, the caveat to that is you can't do 10% of your workout every single time and expect amazing results, right? Like you're going to have days where you just do that and that's okay, but that can't happen every day and it can't happen for months at a time. You'll have weeks that are worse based on stress in your life, things in your job, just, the things of life that are going to get in the way kind of thing of your motivation and your mental health and whatever related to working out. But if that's just like your norm, then you really got to evaluate like what's going on here. Why is this happening? And then you need to take the time to address that. For whatever reason it is. So it's not easy, but it's the compounding effect of how much this matters over time. Like I've said this so many times. I think I even said this at some point when I did your pod. It pains me that people can do the quote unquote wrong things, but just try really hard for a really long time and get really good results in the gym. You see those like 55-year-old dudes, they're just doing all the fucking stuff that you'd make fun of, half repping everything, not a single thing through a full range of motion, but they try really hard and they show up there 5-6 days a week and you look at them it's like, yeah, that guy's in decent shape. He's not a bodybuilder, but he's in decent shape. And it works. So effort and consistency beats a lot of things. Fortunately, unfortunately.
Consistency is typically the biggest thing with, really, honestly, anything. Not just even health and fitness, but like even from like a business standpoint. It's the ones I know. There's a quote. I always butcher it, but it's basically like I got a quote. Someone told me a quote. It's like business is like war, and it's like the first one or the first person to give up the battle typically loses the war. So just like the goal to win is not to lose or to not give up, basically. Right. So I think, well, yeah, it's not optimal for your 55-year-old and just like hammering some half reps and loading up the leg press with 12,000 pounds, but technically that's better than not, I guess. If they don't get injured, sure. That would be my concern with some of the way they do it, because I know exactly like what, not who, but like I worked at a gym, I saw it all the time, and it made me laugh. That's honestly what I miss about the gym sometimes, just like looking at other people and being like, yeah, you're an idiot, but like, no shame, but they don't know any better. But then they're also like the type of people where it's like you go up to them and you're like, hey man, can I give you some advice? They're like, no, I am God. I know everything. I am like the greatest athlete on earth. But you can lead a horse to water. You can't force it to drink. If you ask nicely and they're like, fuck you, then you just respect that and be like, all right, bro, like get injured. See if I care.
Have you ever had success by approaching someone in the gym and just offering?
Not really. Yeah. Not really. There was only like one time I can think of where it was like, well, also, I think it definitely didn't help with the fact that, like, half the time I would do it, I was, like, wearing my, like, uniform that I worked at, like, the gym that I worked at, but it wasn't coming at there, like, from a standpoint of, let me, like, sell this guy training. It was just genuinely, like, I had nothing to do, and, like, I'm literally getting paid to walk the floor and talk to people, so I was like, yo, you suck at this exercise, but they would be very off-put by it, because, like, I guess they're just used to the monotony of, like, always getting approached and being like, hey, you suck at exercising, like, come, sell your life away and, like, pay me for a year, right? There's only one time I remember where it was, like, I was, like, off the clock, I guess, or, like, I was actually in my workout outfits, and there was, like, some, like, really overweight chick doing a leg press, and she had no idea how to, like, re-rack the leg press, and, that was kind of concerning, because I didn't want her to die, so I was like, I got you.
Yeah, that's different. That happened to me, actually, not last week, but the week before. There was a guy, squatting, and he set up I don't even know how, I didn't see him, like, unrack the bar, but the rack, like, the J pegs, or the J hooks were, like, set at his knees somehow. So he must have
wonderful.
Like picked it up and like threw it over his head. It was just an empty bar. But then he was trying to like put it back down, and he was like trying to squat, and obviously you can't like get that low. And I like just ran over and I just grabbed it off his back, because like I'll never interrupt someone who's like just doing something wrong unless they're doing something that's unsafe, that's going to hurt themselves or someone else. Like in that case, like this guy was literally about to get face planted by the bar. I ran over and just grabbed it off his back. I'm like, dude, this is like, let me just help you here, please. And he was thankful and helpful. And obviously,
some people need to learn the hard way, but like, if you can prevent it, sure. I guess it just depends on my mood that day. Cause sometimes I need a good laugh, and like, okay, call me a cynic, but like, you know what? That's not my job. Like it is literally my job to help you learn, and it's up to you to want to learn, not to face plant. But, no, I would say 9 times out of 10, I would do the right thing and like not want him to die, but
Of course.
Well, death is
if it's like legitimately dangerous. If it's just like kind of silly, it's like, well, you know what? They're here and they're trying and kind of,
if you're loading up 2,000 pounds in the leg press, you bet your ass I'm going to watch you, but I'm not like telling you that's like not logical, right? But if it's like, you're going to get hurt, then it's like, well, I'm kind of a piece of shit if I don't really help you because you don't know any better.
Correct. And if you see someone who's like loading up that much weight on the leg press, that's obviously not their first time in the gym. So it's like they like at that point, it's like you should know better than this. But it's like someone who's, you know, squatting or bench pressing an empty barbell, or like you can tell like if someone's struggling with like adjusting a seat or something like that. It's like you can tell that like this is this person's first time in the gym, or even in this gym, because it's happened to me where like I was in a new gym that I hadn't been to before, and there's like a piece of equipment where it's like I can't figure out how to, like, I'm trying to find like where's the thing to adjust the seat on whatever machine it was, and I'm fiddling around with it. Obviously I can't figure it out, and someone who worked at the gym or whatever came over and just like, oh, here, it's the thing, and pulled it, and I was like, yeah, thank you. That's obviously I was struggling and didn't know how to fix this machine. So it's definitely okay, but I think people get their guard up for sure.
Well, actually, that's a good point. I have a couple clients over the years where they have that challenge, and I think it should be more accepting for people to understand. Okay, not every gym, but like majority of gyms and majority of staff at gyms, they don't hate you / they want to help you. But I do understand the anxiety that induces, like, you know, cold approaching someone that works at the gym or whatever. But if you don't know how to use the machine, it's better that you ask versus trying to like figure it out and like injure yourself. Because there also are a lot of places, I can't even remember, there are like pretty much no gyms that like have like instructions properly. They have like the stupid little picture on the machine, but that's not really helpful on how to actually use it. Right. I think some of them, I can't remember which, but some of them have video instructions, but I don't remember which ones.
The Planet Fitness ones have it. They have like a scannable thing at Planet Fitness, so you can like scan the QR code and it sends you to like
their machines are straightforward,
a video or something. Yeah. But like think of the person who is like the average customer at Planet Fitness is not like a hardcore gym person, right? It's more likely to be someone on the beginner end of the spectrum, which they might not know how to adjust the seat, or that the seat is adjustable, how to use a thing. So it makes sense, but it's a great thing. I mean, the manufacturers should just have that anyways as like a sticker that goes on the machine. It would not really cost them anything and be super helpful. But I think the take home lesson for anyone listening is like, if you are struggling in the gym with an exercise, be it like dumbbells, barbells, or any type of machine thing, like look for gym staff and just ask the question. They will not laugh at you for not knowing how to do it. They will just be thankful that you asked, thankful that you didn't hurt yourself, thankful you didn't hurt someone else.
It's a
way bigger problem for them.
Yeah, they don't want injury, dude. Like, that's like, well, I mean, technically you can't sue them because you probably signed a contract, but they don't want people to get hurt. And, well, yeah, at a certain point, pretty much everybody at a certain point was in your shoes at one point. So I think a lot of people lose sight on that. Like, everybody's got to start joining the gym at one point, and they don't know what to do at one point. I mean, some people might be more accepting than others, but fundamentally, if someone works at the gym, they should not be able to help you.
Yeah. And people do want to make money. Like, trainers will approach you and try and eventually, you know, build a relationship and maybe sell you. And some people will do it very aggressively and some more passively. But every single person who becomes a trainer, and not every single person, because there's always like D-bags and everything that happens, but most people like do this because they want to help and because they're a good person. Like, this is not the easiest or fastest way to get rich and famous. There are plenty of easier and faster ways to do that than becoming a trainer, especially working on the floor in a gym. So just, you know that they are there trying to help you and being kind. And if you happen to want to hire them, then by all means, but they're not going to not like you because you didn't hire them after they helped you for 10 seconds. So like, be confident in that.
I think yes, but I think statistically there's a lot more trainers that don't care anymore. Or like, I think everybody at a certain point when they became in this field, the motivation was they wanted to help people. But a lot of them, I feel like, lose sight on that. And then, like, I would say almost like maybe 50%, because they just get like sick and tired of like basically being sick and tired, where it's like people like want help, but then they don't want help. And then they're just like, okay, well then I'm just going to like I'm going to make you sell your kidney to work with me type of thing, you know? Like, I don't know. It depends on how people go about it. But I think a lot of trainers, they would benefit from like not losing sight on their original reason why they started to help. It's the same reason why someone gets motivated on like a health and fitness journey. And when they lose motivation, the biggest thing is to kind of rewind back on like why you started, or what is your why? Is it because like you don't want to die because you have a kid, or you can't see your whatever, like you have blood pressure issues, or you can't walk up a flight of stairs, like whatever your why is. But I don't know. I don't really blame some trainers, but like, depends. That's a whole other topic, which I don't want to like shit on the industry, but a lot of people have bad experiences.
You alluded to something there that I think is worth talking about though. And it's wanting to help people so bad, but running into the problem of people not wanting to help themselves. And I think part of that is the approach of like, we have to realize that we can't help everyone. You know what I mean? If you're a great trainer and you help, I don't know, whatever, pick a number, 1,000 clients over your career, probably more, but let's just say 1,000 clients over your career, like that's 1,000 people whose lives you greatly impacted. But in the grand scheme of things, like 1,000 people is nothing. It's a drop in there's 8 billion people in the world. 1,000 people is nothing. So you had a great impact, but also basically no impact on the world.
That's so sad when you put it like that.
but it's the truth, right? So you walk around and like, oh, these people at the mall, they should all hire me. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe, but you can't save everyone, right? So we can't fix other people, but the people who do reach out to a coach or join a gym or something, they've already taken a gigantic first step that puts them miles ahead of the vast majority of people out there. However, then there's another step of between the people who reach out and then the people who are successful in their fitness journey and the people who are successful with a coach and whatnot. In your opinion, in your experience, what are some of the characteristics or actions or behaviors that separates a successful client / fitness journey from an unsuccessful one?
Well, one of my favorite quotes is, you can only lead a horse to water, you can't force it to drink. So basically, a lot of people, they want help, but then when it comes to like actually getting help, it's one thing, it's one thing to be like probing. I think like it was when I like took CanFit, there was like the contemplation stages. There's like pre-contemplation. It's like there's 5 levels before someone like does it, and everybody's stuck in like pre-contemplation, and then it's like something switches. They'll see like an ad or like their dad will have a stroke to get them to like I forget the second stage, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, like that initial inertia of like spark of motivation. So yay, they reach out, whether it's through whatever different method, formology, or like ad or whatever. But then a lot of them get scared of actually taking action and actually taking steps, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And people think like, okay, I'll just continue doing X, Y, and Z, or I'll go from diet to diet to diet. I'll do keto, I'll do carnivore, and I'll keep losing 10, 20 pounds and then gain it back and then lose 10, gain 10, lose 10, gain 10. So it's a lot of the same cycle. I call it like yo-yo dieting, right? I love using my mom as an example because she's not going to watch this / she doesn't care. She lost 20 pounds 20 times in 20 years. Literally. Jeez. I'm not even saying that like figuratively. I mean, I might be stretching the truth, but I can for sure say 20 pounds in like 15 times, right? And it wasn't really until like I just told her one day, I was like, look, when you want help, let me know. And that was like, I don't know, like year 18 out of 20. And then eventually she got sick of being sick and tired and like, why am I not continuing to lose the weight and then it's not staying off? And what she didn't realize, which I did, was she would literally just jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, or from group class to group class to group class to this, that, and the other thing. I don't really love group fitness, but it's better than not. I changed my mindset a little bit on that. But point is, when we boil everything down, the reason she was able to now, it's like 5 years in the future, be able to keep the weight off was because she made something more sustainable. Plus, she actually strength trained, which was one thing she never really did. She would go to like Pilates, she would go to like yoga, she would do like these toning, what are they called? Like body jump or something. I don't know. They're like a 4-pound dumbbell and like throw it in the air 1,000 fucking times. She did that shit. Yeah. She did like, bro, I saw this meme. It's so funny. Like middle-aged women will do literally anything in the world except for actually just working out properly. They'll like flip upside down. They'll do like some trampoline ass, like stripper. They'll do like stripping workout. I mean, honestly, like that's fantastic for your core, but like, man, you're like 250. You're going to try to climb a pole and fall. Like what the fuck? Anyways. Yeah. I kind of got off sidetrack there. What else is new? How do we start this? You asked me something
just things about what makes a successful client and versus not. But I mean, I think you hit on a lot of good things. Yeah. Just finding a sensible approach.
Well, also it's a matter of, okay, so I've changed my stance a little bit on this. The biggest thing that I can tell, because I've helped over like 400 people to this point lose 30 pounds. And that's why I was kind of sad where you're like, if you help 1,000 people, you're like, it didn't actually mean shit. Which you're not wrong, but it just that makes me feel so unconfident. Okay, so
I'm not good enough at math, but 1,000 divided by 8 billion is a really small number.
I mean, that's valid. Yeah. That's valid. But okay, my new goal is, I don't know, 1 million people, but that's actually ridiculous. I couldn't coach at 1 million people unless I have like, unless I'm Chris Bumstead with a $20 a month app, but then it's useless. That's a whole story.
Well, you could, but the point is still valid. Like 1 million divided by 8 billion is still a small number. It's still like it's a giant dent. You're impacting a million people's lives, which is crazy. You can't even fathom a million people in a room or in a stadium. You can't even fathom that.
Can't fit that, yeah.
But,
okay, new goal. I'm gonna run for president and then make everybody work out. There we go. And then I can say I have such a large impact on an entire country.
Okay, hold on. Let's actually talk about this because I think this type of conversation or this concept has come up a bit. Now, obviously, this is a not a realistic thing, but conceptually, and we will come back to the stuff that we're talking about, so I don't want to forget that. But conceptually, do you think that if that was a thing, if you could be, we're both Canadian, so if you could be prime minister tomorrow, and you said everybody must work out, what do you think have you actually thought this through? Like, what do you think the actual impact of that
No, if I actually thought it through, well, I was diagnosed at a very young age with this thing that a lot of people don't know about. It's called ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder. Basically, you tell me left, I say right. I don't really care. And then I'll like ask you like, okay, I'll question like, okay, why do you think left is okay? And that's why I thought I'd make a good lawyer, but then also like, I cannot be serious in a courtroom. I'll be like, yo, your mom at your honor, but anyways, no, I don't think it would work well. But I also think like I'm getting put on the spot. So if I thought of like a logical approach, what I would do more is like in a way develop habits from kids at a young age and not necessarily force them to exercise, but definitely educate them better on nutrition. I have a whole thing about like the education system in elementary school. Like, why are people not learning about TFSAs, RSPs, taxes? Like the government wants you to pay all this money on income tax, but yet they don't teach you shit on how to do that. And if you don't, you're going to prison. Yeah. What's up with that? But yeah, it's like the same thing as an adult. You want to structure habits and consistency. So if you're a child and you're not forced, but highly encouraged to find a sport or find some activity that makes you active, typically sports or like MMA or jujitsu or whatever. And then you do that. That's great. And then instead of like this bullshit PE class where you're running laps and my fat ass when I was 12, I literally skipped like gym class because of it. You're just running and climbing ropes. That does nothing. Teach kids at a young age. It's not going to stunt their growth. At 9, 10, 11, 12, how to deadlift, how to bench press, how to squat. Then they can go from it and then be like, oh my God, I actually like this. I mean, maybe half don't. But then the other half, it's so much better than like, what are they going to do? Go play fucking video games? You can play video games, but like also work out. All right. So that's kind of that's what I would do. Start them young. And then from there, a lot of them, or probably half of them, would develop and build the habit to where they would probably continue it. And until their life got super busy, which is a bullshit excuse, but some people, okay, whatever, you have exams, you have a girlfriend, you have school, you have work, oh, I'm too busy. Until that happened, they would probably work out from like 12 to like 20. And then, life happens and probably some of them would like put on the back burner. Then they reach out to us when they're 30 and out of shape again.
That is, it's a pretty good assessment, I think, of how it would go roughly. I mean, I agree with you though. It starts from the beginning, and it's much easier to like build good habits when there are no habits rather than trying to undo old/bad habits and then relearn new stuff. Like obviously, you can start at any age. Don't get me wrong. If you're 57 and listening to this, like you can definitely unlearn all the bad shit that you've learned and like learn new healthy habits. So that can definitely happen. It happens every single day. But it's much easier on like a societal level to like start from the kids, get everyone like really involved in exercise, like really like playing and sports and being outside and physical activity and liking healthy food, and just label that as normal rather than like one big thing that I've had over the past couple of years is like we label a healthy lifestyle as like the other.
That's a diet.
rather than like that's just lifestyle. There's lifestyle,
and then there's fast food.
Yeah, there's lifestyle and healthy eating, and then there's unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah. There's no such healthy lifestyle. It's just a normal. The default needs to be like healthy. Default needs to be you exercise, you eat, whole foods, you go to sleep at a reasonable time, you don't smoke and drink your face away every single night. Like you don't do these things, right? So, anyways, I mean that is getting a little bit off topic, but I don't think that mandating, like forcing people to do stuff, like it's just
never works.
It's not. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't be possible anyways. And it's just like it's just not going to work. So it would be. It's a nice idea, but like we have to just create.
I mean, it could work if we're like North Korea
to do it.
No, if we're North Korea, that could definitely work. Where it's like, bro, you're not getting food if you don't go to the gym today for an hour, and then like everybody has like a barcode or some shit. But that's like really extreme. But like,
and then how is that even like? How is that good? You know, like that wouldn't be like.
I mean,
a good
working out against your will. It was stranger things have happened, but typically, I'm sure the country of North Korea does not have an obesity crisis. They are probably very under-diminished or under malnutrition. But that's a really stupid example. But welcome to my brain. So, yeah.
But on that though. I think it was sometime in 2024 where obesity has surpassed starvation for like nutrition disorders for the first time ever. I mean, think about it, in all of human history, like people have been struggling to be able to get enough food. Like that has been like a gigantic struggle of human life across the world forever until last year when it's like we have more obese people than people that are starving. That is absolutely true in like, you know, North America and the quote unquote developed world, but across the whole world now that is true, which is just sad. And things have to change, and they, you know, it all starts at the level of the individual, but if we can have some top down as well, like it would definitely help. Going back a little bit now, back in time. You alluded to it earlier. You were very overweight a while ago as a kid and whatever. Can you talk to me about like just tell me about your journey and like your story through that. Were you always overweight as a kid? Did you gain weight more as a teenager? Like how did that happen? And then how did you get to where you are now?
How much time we got? No, but I'll make it short because I mean I'll do the elevator pitch. I mean,
and we'll interject and you know, talk about things where we need to.
So, long 7 years ago in a galaxy far, far away, a Puffy was born. And, until the age of 6, you know, normal life, childhood, all that fun stuff. And then he developed an eating disorder, which he wasn't really diagnosed with until like fucking 12 years later. Where basically he ate the same 5 foods, and to simplify, basically just ate the Happy Meal menu, like grilled cheese and French fries and chicken fingers for like 12 years in a row. And so as you can imagine, that was really stupid. And make the young Puffy really puffy. That's why my nickname was Puffy. Technically, I still like it. It's a good moniker. It has nothing to do with Diddy Combs, by the way, because in the year 2025, I just have to emphasize that. Not a cool guy. I don't like baby oil. All right, not my thing. But it was because one day my dad was like, yo, instead of being so fat, like, he was really, I don't like it's like when you call a drug addict. Like, they kind of know. So, like, if you call me fat, like, I would be really upset. So my dad was like, yo, why do you gotta be so, and he was like, Puffy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that name. So it actually just came out of nowhere, and then it stuck. And then company like Puffy got Buffy, because when I lost the weight, I'll get to that. But my trainer actually, he got me a shirt for my birthday. It said Puffy got Buffy on it, and I was like, yo, that's so cool. And now I have it trademarked. Okay, so but going back in time, so I was 6, normal, then eating disorder, blah blah blah. When I was like, that continued for like 6 years, and then I was like 12. I think I was like 250, something like that. I was like a hefty boy. I went to Sick Kids for a while. They did a biopsy. They told me my liver was going to be like exploding, and I was on a liver transplant list. My own in doing, by the way. It wasn't like I was genetically like, what's the word? I had like, I don't remember the number on, but like a normal liver count's like 40 to 60. I think it's like they were testing like the fat lipids or whatever. And mine was 280. So I had like an 80-year-old's alcoholic liver at 12 years old. It was a fun time. But it all had to do with the fact of like me eating all this fat shit. And then they put me in like this program to teach me better eating habits, and I didn't really listen to anything because I had an eating disorder, and I would like throw up / gag at like anything that wasn't the 5 foods, because when you develop habits and train your brain the same fucking thing for 6 years in a row, your body, humans don't like change. And especially when you're like almost addicted to eating the stuff. I would like throw up, and it wasn't even like, a chicken finger was not even like a chicken finger. It was like, if it wasn't from McDonald's and it was like the frozen ones from the grocery stores, I would throw up at that. It was really stupid bad. So that was like until 12. And then basically we fast forward, without going into like how depressed I was and suicide attempts and all this fun stuff and not going to high school and blah, blah, blah. Woe is me. At 17 and a half, I was 375 pounds. I couldn't see my dick in the mirror, literally and figuratively. I was like Peter Griffin. And so one day I had an epiphany. I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I have nothing else to do with my sad, sorry life. Let's not be fat. And
sorry to interject. Did your eating change between 12 and 17? Were you still eating chicken fingers and stuff?
Shit.
Okay.
Water break. H2O. Anybody who's listening to this podcast, drink water right now. That's your reminder for the day. You're welcome. All right. So, so then I was still the eating disorder, still fat, all that fun stuff. Woke up one day. I remember it was like March of, I don't know the year. It was just like a March or April. I basically finished high school without going to high school. That's a story for another day. I had a lot of behavioral issues, but whatever. And so I was done high school, had no idea what I wanted to do beyond that, had no goals, had no life, had no ambition, had no social life, had no anything except for, my claim to fame was I was top 100 in the world at Call of Duty. Yay. But it wasn't like I was like the greatest on earth. It was just because I had no fucking life and I played like 12 hours a day. So just by default, I had like all this like XP. I wasn't bad though, but I wasn't like pro level.
Right.
So yeah. And then, the epiphany happened, the aha moment, the come to Jesus moment. And so I went from eating McDonald's 4 times a day to 3, which if you listeners out there, I put myself in a caloric deficit, which I didn't know of at the time. And so I lost about 20 pounds and I was like, bro, this shit's so easy. I'm a weight loss guru. Like, they got shit on me. All this Jenny Craig, all these fat pills that I bought, they're useless. I'm God. I'm gonna eat McDonald's and I'm gonna lose weight. And then, well, I hit a plateau. And so that's eventually normal for everybody on their journey, except I didn't know what a plateau was. All I knew was I was so happy because I was doing something productive with my sad story life. And, then it stopped and then I got even more depressed. And so then at that point, I went from the McDonald's 3 times a day to then like scouring the internet for literally every bullshit on earth. I, went on a binge watch on YouTube watching a bunch of steroided jack guys tell me to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. I don't like chicken, rice, and broccoli. Still have the eating disorder. That didn't work. I would try it and then I would throw up. I'd get like these fat burning pills. Those are fucking useless. Although it made me sweat a lot. That was fun. What else was there? Oh, I did, Weight Watchers. I did Jenny Craig. I did Bernstein. So basically for like a 6-month stretch, I just did like everything under the sun. I don't remember if I tried keto, but like probably not. Cause like there's nothing, actually I probably could have just eaten chicken nuggets, but like really like that's not gonna work. So then, I confided in my dad, aka Puffy Senior, aka Chucky, aka Mustache. I was like, look, dude, I lost 20 pounds, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I have no life. And he knew that because I lived with him and he didn't want his kid to die. I love my dad because a lot of parents, honestly, this is kind of sad, but I wouldn't have blamed them. They would have given up on their kid because I was like 18 and like unemployed and like, dude, I was spending like $4,000 a month on his credit card on fucking McDonald's. Granted, my dad should have said no, but like also we didn't want the kid to starve and like,
it's a tough spot to be in for sure.
It's a tough position. Yeah. I love my dad though. So, I confided in the Puffy Senior. And, well, without me knowing, and I guess I'm a big believer everything happens in life for a reason. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just told him basically what was happening because he was like, yo, what's up? And so he went on the Google and he typed in-home personal trainer. And then basically like the next day, he told me like, hey, I got someone to come help you. Their name's Nitish. And I thought it was going to be some like 5'2" Indian chick. I was like, well, what the fuck? That's not going to help me. And so no, that's not what happened. Some guy in a Camaro, like super jacked Indian dude came and he's like, hey. And, the one thing that I commend Nitish about and any trainer or coach watching this is you can't just, what's the word? You have to kind of, it sounds fucked up, but I don't mean it like fucked up. You have to snoop to the client's level. And like what I mean by that is like, if Nitish came in and he's like, dude, you're fat, you need to lose weight, you're going to die, I would have told him to fuck off. But he was like, look, dude, I understand what you're going through. And like, I'm not trying to change really anything about your life. We just need you to exercise and make small changes. And I know that sounds like logical, but like some trainers lose sight on that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically I just remember like we sat down for like 90 minutes in my basement and like I broke down and I was like, bro, like I don't know what I'm doing and I hate my life. And like, it was like a really like good conversation. And, at the end of it, my dad and him, I don't know, they figured something out, like, in terms of economics. I wasn't involved in that. And I do understand for some people, like, one of the biggest reasons for them not taking action or not hiring someone is because of, like, economics. But, like, whether it's me or even if it was Nitish, right? Like, sometimes, like, and I'm sure even you, like, if someone came to you and they're like, here's my budget, and as long as it's not like $50 a month, like, if we're like $100 apart, I don't give a shit. I rather care. I care about more helping the person than like money in my bank account. Cause like you alluded to,
100%.
like, this fucking industry, bro, is not like, if we wanted to make money, kind of segue, but if we want to make money, like, every trainer that I used to work with at Good Life, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, they're all selling real estate, insurance, or cars, because they don't give a fuck anymore about helping people. They just want to make that sweet, sweet commission, right?
Yeah.
So then basically from when I met Nitish, and then I dubbed him the Indian Hulk. That's my nickname for him. He's in my phone as Nitish, aka Indian Hulk. I got him an action figure actually with his face on it, dressed as Indian Hulk.
Amazing.
We became really close friends. We became, I would dare I say, best friends. And now he's like my brother. Like, there's only two people I take a bullet for in life. One would be my dad. The second one would be Nitish. And that's pretty much it. I love my mom, but like, that's a story for another day. Call me a cynic. But, anyways, so from that moment, we worked out together in my basement for 3 or 4 times a week for like 6 months. And I lost like 80 pounds. And I remember one thing that was so important about me starting was Nitish knew, like, okay, my dad paid him, yay, but he needed to get me to like believe into the process and buy into the process. And so one thing that was so impactful that he made me do, even though my dad offered to pay for it, that wasn't the point. I had a job before. I worked at a chocolate store. That did great for my weight loss journey. Now, anybody didn't see this on audio, or sorry, if they're just listening on audio, I just completely rolled my eyes. Okay, it's sarcasm. But, basically, he wanted me to basically invest into myself, invest into the journey. So he got me to buy a pair of adjustable dumbbells by Bowflex, because at the time, like, COVID didn't happen, and there weren't all these Chinese knockoffs. And they were like $600 for shipping. And a fun fact, I still have them. They're actually behind me. You can't see it because of this dumb blurry camera bullshit. But
I have those same ones.
Yeah. So I bought those, and I bought a really shitty adjustable bench off of Amazon that eventually broke because I was too fat to use it, but that's okay. And we did that for like 6 months, like 3-4 times a week, got bonded, all this shit, lost 80 pounds, and then bingo bango. In the interim, I started cooking, started getting passionate about culinary. Then I was like, okay, gonna go to culinary school. So kind of did that. And then when we wrapped up, we didn't wrap up training. Basically, I progressed to the point where I couldn't work out anymore in my basement because, like, I'm not like Hercules, but like 50 pounds is not like a significant amount of weight. And eventually, when you lose 80 pounds, doing box squats doesn't really do shit. Although it's a good starting point. So then we went to the Good Life. And he would definitely, for legal purposes, he would definitely not train me. We would definitely only work out together. And so that was great. And then eventually, and credit again to Nitish, he could have easily like sold, like maybe sell my soul and like sold me for like a decade and be like, bro, you need to hire me for the rest of your life type shit. And he didn't because he knew it wasn't good for me. And, it wasn't long-term sustainable, like, in terms of economics, because eventually, like, my dad's gonna be like, yo, I'm not gonna pay for the, obviously.
Yeah. So
what Nitish did gradually over time was kind of transition to me to, like, online coaching, which I only know, like, now, where eventually we would instead of, like, working out all the time, we'd work out, like, basically, like, 2 or 3 or 4 times a month, and then he would also give me homework, / like a Word doc with, like, YouTube links and, like, here's the reps, here's the sets. And then when we worked out together, we would literally go over that to make sure like the form was solid. So we did that, blah, blah, blah. Went to culinary school, blah, blah, blah. Then I lost like in about a 16 months period, I lost like 150 pounds. So that's the somewhat quick story. And then, well, if you fast forward, I guess to modern day Messiah, aka weight loss god, aka bit of a narcissist, Puffy. Nah, but I'm a self-absorbed narcissist, so it's like I'm fully aware of it. But I'm also making fun of myself. But that I lost the weight, went to culinary school, blah 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 blah. Worked at a bunch of gyms. I worked at LA Fitness. I don't like them. I worked at 9 Round. I don't like them. I worked at F45. I don't like them. And then I worked at the same Good Life of which I used to go to all the time when I lost the weight because they kind of knew me. They knew the story. They had no business hiring me because I was incredibly inexperienced, but they don't care because they're a terrible, unethical company, which we're not going to shit on in this podcast because I don't want them to copyright flag this. But not a bunch of fun stuff I can say about them. However, it was funny actually, because I told Natish after like I didn't want to do the culinary school thing, or like I got jobs in the culinary industry and I realized like that wasn't for me. Like, I don't like getting yelled at. I don't like doing dishes. I don't like chopping stuff until my fucking fingers blister. And, it was a lot of, honestly, shout out to chefs, bro. Like their life sucks. Yeah, a lot of chefs are divorced and like fat, but that's because like all they care about is cooking with passion. But he was like, yeah, Natish tried to get me out of it, and he was like, bro, don't do this. Like, it's a terrible industry. It's like it's awful. And like, then when I worked at Good Life, he worked at Good Life too. He's like, bro, you're gonna hate this. You're gonna, and like he wasn't wrong, but I have a good work ethic, and I'm very what's the word? Stubborn. And like, anyways, not to go too much into depth on why. If you want to know more about why I hate Good Life, I have like a podcast with his name's Mark, where we kind of literally just shit on Good Life for an hour and a half. But but basically not a fun time. It was really eye opening though, bro. Like it really got me to understand all the bad part about the industry and like an ethical part. And like when I make the joke, like getting someone to sell a kidney to work with me, Good Life wants your kidneys, bro. Like they want both of them. They don't care. Like they're no dialysis either. Like just give me all of your organs. And so that was fun. And then, well, then eventually COVID happened. COVID happened / going insane. Put a gym in my house because, well, shout out to Trudeau with the CERB money. And then, well, yeah, started Puffy got Buffy. And so, I mean, I didn't really anticipate not continuing at Good Life, basically, but to make a long story short, after COVID happened, I put the gym in the house, blah, 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 blah. I put the gym in there for me, not to really train people, by the way. Yeah. And so, when the resumption happened after COVID and all the nonsense, they basically fired me because of the mask. And, this is not a political, like, podcast, but whatever. It was indifferences. And so whatever. Then, kind of just started my own thing. And, without going, I also started like a meal prep company, but that's a whole other thing that worked, that didn't work, whatever. Doesn't matter anymore. And so now, fast forward, I've helped like 400 people lose 30 pounds. It's a love-hate relationship with this business, like we touched on before we pressed record. I love helping people. That's the only reason I continue to do this shit. But I hate every other aspect. But, I guess that's life and that's business. And I'm sorry if any listeners are bored now of hearing me talk for the last 20 minutes, but that's the synopsis. Yeah,
I mean, there's obviously like a ton there. So let's kind of go back a little bit. All the stuff with the industry, like, yeah, there's lots of, I mean, good and bad about this industry and literally every other industry. I'm sure, we just don't know about stuff about other industries because if we haven't worked in them. I'm sure there's shit everywhere, but whatever. What was your epiphany? You said you're looking in the mirror, like what happened? Well, like if you can remember at all, because obviously there was a lot of things that happened to lead up to that, and no one just randomly wakes up and decides like, oh, today is the day I'm going to change my entire life. Like there's a sequence of events that lead up to that, whether they're conscious or unconscious. Do you have any recollection of like a sequence of events that happened, or that that's that snap in that moment that like, okay, this is it? Like talk me through that.
Well, I guess for marketing or like for the story purposes, like I used to say, or I still say, like my doctor said I'd be dead when I was 16. My doctor said I'd be dead by 24, which he's not wrong, because like statistically I was gaining between 30 and 50 pounds a year. Simple math, I was 370 at like 17. I'd be like over 500, 600 pounds by the 24. So yeah, I'd be dead. Yeah. But that didn't get me to change, because it was only a year and a half later where I was like, you know what? I should probably do something about this. So was there like a subconscious thing that built up to it? No, because it was always like, it wasn't my first attempt, right? Like I tried, but I think the biggest thing that changed in my brain versus all the other attempts was a lot of it was my mom / parents driving me to this appointment, dragging me to this appointment, getting me to do all the shit, which I deep down really didn't want to do. Also my sad goal for a while was to kind of eat myself to death. Because I kind of alluded to it, like I tried suicide twice and it wasn't fun / woohoo, didn't succeed, but I was on antidepressants, all that fun stuff. And, I just came to the reality where it's like, okay, I'm not going to go through with this like the hard way. I'm just going to keep fucking eating until I die. And then I guess I'm a bit of a different breed where, I literally just woke up like that one day and I was like, you know what? Like, it's enough. And I did it for me. Like, that's the thing. So it wasn't like, my dad didn't wake up one day and was like, yo, you're fat. You need to lose weight. Cause if you did that, I'd be like really sad. It was like literally like, I don't know, man. I just woke up, looked in the mirror one day, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck do I look like? Like, I look like fucking purple man bun. Couldn't see my dick in the mirror. And it was just like, also, I had like, it was also like, there was no excuses left. Like, I had no school, no job, no life, no social life, no responsibility. There was no reason for me to finally not, like, just actually do it. And it was also just mainly for me, but there was, you know, it's nice to, like, have a parent that doesn't have a dead kid. That's cool too. Cause like, my dad would be fucking really, I don't know if my dad would make it if I fucking died, honestly. Let's not, knock on where's wood, like, you know, but yeah.
I think that is very related to what we were talking about earlier, where it can't be forced upon you. It has to be something that, like, you got to do this because you want to do it. And, and you on the inside, I think, has to want to do this. And where I'm going with that is a lot of people will start their fitness journey because they want to lose 10 pounds, because they want to see a certain number on the scale, or they want to fit into a certain shirt or dress or suit or bathing suit, or, you know, whatever. And by all means, like, that's fine. It's a very common starting point, and it's okay, but it has to become much greater than that. And the people who are the most successful always find and recognize a deeper meaning. Like you're saying, it's just like, hey, I can't live like this anymore. This is not my life. Or something about like living for your kids. And in that sense, like, it's about someone else, but it's about you being there for your kids, right? It's like it's something inside you. It's not an external thing. And again, nothing wrong with external things. They're phenomenal. They're great motivators. They're great in like a pinch when you need to, like, kind of, you know, light a fire under your butt and all that stuff. It's a good starting point. It's fine. But if you're really successful at this, it will evolve beyond that. And it has to, because no one cares that much about losing 10 pounds and seeing a certain number on the scale to do this for the rest of their life. Because I'm sure you've experienced this with other people, with clients, and maybe even yourself. You say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. You lose that 10 pounds, and so now the scale says, you know, whatever, X minus 10. And you're like, fuck, nothing really changed in my life. I'm kind of fitter, I feel better, and whatever, but like, I still want to lose a little bit more weight, or I still want to do this, or I still want to do that. And so it's great, but it wasn't actually the goal. The goal is actually to feel better, to look better, to perform better, to be happier, like all these things. Though that's the real goal. Losing 10 pounds is just a proxy, and usually it's like, you know, it's just a thing you make up in your head. Why does everyone's goal to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds? And there's no way everyone needs to lose a nice round number. The number of fat pounds that you need to lose is probably like some, you know, 37, 22, 19. Like, it's not a nice round number, right? But we just pick 10 because it sounds nice in our head. And so it's got to come from, like, it eventually has to come from within.
It's very valid. I mean, I don't think anything's gonna be successful if it's not coming from you. I think that's fundamentally with, like, anything. But then I also tell some clients where it's like, you know, fuck it. You know, maybe don't even do it for you. Because what irks me is, like, when we boil things down, if I really had to find, like, other motivation other than to do it to myself, I didn't want to die for the sake of my dad. You know? Like, I didn't want my dad to bury his kid. So it's like, if you're a parent, don't be selfish. You literally brought someone into this life, and they deserve your love, attention, resources, knowledge, but you're gonna die years before you should. If you don't take action, you don't change. And that's sometimes really bothers me, where it's like, I'll talk to parents all the time, and it's like, I get the psychological standpoint, and it's like, oh, you're on the fence and all this shit, but fundamentally, cut the shit. You've been fat for a decade, you've been fat for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You have a newborn kid, you have a 10-year-old kid. Do you not want to walk that kid down the aisle? Like, I don't get that, right? But I don't know. That's just, so yeah, it's not always intrinsic motivation, because sometimes people will be internally motivated, but then they'll lose sight of that. But then that's also why it helps to have external motivation, in the sense of, like, well, your child, or, I don't know, some bodybuilding show, some photo shoot, some whatever, right? A lot of clients that I've had really good success with, they have some desired timeline or specific goal within specific timeline. Like, it's not essential, but it's a lot easier. Your brain prefers a timeline or something to look forward to kind of map out a timeline, in the sense of, like, okay, instead of losing whatever 10 pounds in fucking 2 weeks. Well, instead of saying I just want to lose 10 pounds, if you say you want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, you're more than likely going to hit that, just like subconsciously, right? So
it's just different forms of motivation and goal setting, right? It's like if you want to have this really lofty long-term goal, it's like, well, you have to have some process associated with that. So maybe, committing to a show is just something to keep you on the calendar, keep you in the gym. You think about other people in your life, and it's the whole concept of just treating like caring for yourself the way that you would care for someone else, because we're all way better at like, what's the stat? I've heard it on so many podcasts before. I don't remember the exact stat, but it's like you are way more likely to finish like a round of medication for your dog, where you make sure that you give it to your dog like every day or whatever, than you are for yourself. People just stop taking it because they just don't care about themselves enough. So if your dog is prescribed some medication, you'll make sure that dog, you hide it in the food, you do whatever, and you make sure that dog finishes that so that they're feeling better and do whatever they have to do. But if that same thing or separate thing, obviously it would be prescribed to you for a different condition, you're like way less likely to actually complete that course of medication or treatment or rehabilitation or whatever, because like we just don't care about ourselves as much as we care about being responsible for other people. So if you can flip that and be like, hey, if someone else was caring for me, what would they do? They would make sure that I get to the gym a couple times a week. They would make sure that I drink a lot of water today. They would make sure that I don't just eat pizza and ice cream every single day this week. They would do all these things. And so if you can flip that frame of reference to like, treating yourself like your own client kind of thing, that will help you a lot. But then again, yes, wanting to be there for the people in your life. I think that's like I don't know I'm sure there's a term for this. I don't know what the word is, but there's got to be some mix. There's some gray area between intrinsic and extrinsic motivations here, where it's like, hey, I'm doing this to be here for the people in my life. So it's for them, but it's also so that I can, be here to stick around, to see them do, whatever thing. So there's a mix there. But I mean, I think it just takes a lot of, it takes a lot of like soul searching for lack of a better word. How do I say this in a way that makes sense? The nuts and bolts of what one needs to do for fitness, and we're both coaches, and I think we can openly easily say this, it's not rocket science. Like you said, you went from eating McDonald's 4 times a day to eating McDonald's 3 times a day and lost 20 pounds. You didn't need a PhD to figure that one out, right?
Maybe.
It's pretty basic stuff, what you need to do. But it's like, it's actually getting to do the stuff. And so we need to work more like on our, like the mental side of it and like the, the emotional side of things, than actually trying to figure out what to do. The what is easy. It's the why and the how. That's the difficult part.
I actually figured that out like in the last calendar year, where, a lot of people say nutrition, 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, or whatever, abs are made in the kitchen, all this bullshit. I don't disagree with like some of that, but I find what makes me a really solid coach, especially now, is I've shifted kind of what I do to where it's like 40% nutrition, maybe like 20% exercise, and then 40% mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not bought in to the process, if you don't believe you can do this shit, if you don't think that it will work for you, if you don't have a specific reason why when the days are tough and you lose motivation, it's not going to work. Right. And since I kind of modified and changed my approach towards more like, I'm not a therapist by any means. I'm just a guy who's been through a lot of shit, who's helped a lot of people, who has heard every excuse in the book and has no empathy for when people make excuses. When I shifted that, results have increased kind of a lot, like somewhat dramatically. Now, is that indicative of me being a bad coach before? No, but you live and you learn, because I took it from like a business coach. There was a guy, what's his face? Sam Ovens. He's the / of School, him and Hermosi. But before they did that, he was like one of the biggest SMMA or social media marketing agency coaches / he had his own agency / he would train other people to whatever. And I promise this makes sense in a sec. This isn't like going into like a business topic. Basically, people would spend, like, people that wanted to start their own agencies or whatever would hire him as his mentor coach, and they'd spend, I think it was like 10 grand or some shit. And like, he had 100 hours of course materials. 75 or 80 hours of the first 100 was all mindset shit. Literally. And it was just like getting them to believe and buy into the process. Because by the time, and also let's be real, it's a digital product, so like not everybody would even finish that shit. So I don't know the statistics, but like whatever. Maybe like 90% of people that even buy an app or a PDF or a book, they don't even open it, and then maybe like 5% actually do it. But the ones that actually did all 80 hours of those modules, getting them to believe in, getting them to restructure their mindset, they were fucking invincible. And then when it came to actually taking action on the very simple shit where it's like, okay, I don't know, I didn't fucking sign up for this shit. I don't want a fucking social media agency. But they did it. Unquestionable, right? And they got success, or most of them got success because they actually followed what the fucking guy said and they bought in and they believed into the process. So yeah, that's kind of well, it's not really an analogy, it's fact, right? But I don't make clients watch 80 hours of mindset shit, but I wish that would be fantastic, but that's not.
It's bringing things back full circle to the beginning, where if you just try hard for long enough, you are going to be successful. Like, half of success with fitness and with a lot of other things is just not stopping. If you just keep going, you're just going to be there for a long time, and eventually you'll figure it out and good things will happen. And it would be cool, and we would be charging a lot more if there were like secrets of the universe. Like, no, you must eat these exact foods at this exact time and this exact quantity. Like, no, it just doesn't exist. That's just not how it works.
Man, I wish I could work out and eat for clients. I'd have like 3 clients and charge them all like $100,000 and be rich and anorexic. But that shit is not possible. Like, there's, in the marketing world, there's DFY or there's DIY. There's do it yourself, like where people teach you what to do, or you pay more and then it's done for you, but it's done. You don't have to do shit. I don't find it that effective because you're not learning anything, but some people don't have time, so you're trading time for money or money for time, whatever. But there's no option for that when it comes to health and fitness, unfortunately. If there ever was, we would be rich. Well, not really. It's like the first one to crack the bolt, but then that's also like, without going into a different topic, but that's like where Ozempic comes in, where it's like people are so lazy and so like, they just want the magic pill. They just want to jab a needle in their ass and lose weight. And unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. More times than not, like, they regret doing it because they feel like shit and it's not sustainable.
We're the only industry that I can think of, and maybe there are some others, but we're pretty much the only industry where you as a client or customer pay someone and then you have to do the work. Yeah. Right? It's not like, you go to your sink is leaking. You pay the plumber and the plumber does, they fix the sink. Great, done, easy. You go to buy a car or fix your car, you pay the mechanic, they fix your car, and you leave, everything's good. It comes to a trainer, you buy a fitness program, you pay the trainer, and then you do the work. Right? We just talk, and that's one thing that I say to all my clients. Oh, they say, thank you so much for helping us. I just talk. And, I downplay it, and it's kind of, just a joke and whatever, but really, like, I just talk and instruct and guide and motivate, but, like, I don't actually do any work for you. Like, I can't. I wish I could, but we can't. You have to be able to do the work yourself. And to start to wrap this up and to really bring this whole thing full circle is like about what makes a successful client is someone who realizes, I think, that they need to do the work and that they take an internal locus of control of all this. They realize that, hey, I am in control of this. I'm the one who can change my eating. I'm the one who can exercise. I'm the one who can do X, Y, Z. And when you start putting that on yourself instead of waiting for other people and looking for secrets and hacks and tricks and shortcuts, that's when you'll be successful. That's probably the biggest thing from my end.
Yeah, the best clients that I've had, they do the work, and they also not just do the work, but they also communicate and allow me to help them. Let me help you, help me help you. Like, I can't read minds. I don't know when you're going to, I don't know, out for dinner, and I can't tell you what to eat if you don't tell me. You tell me after the fact, that's not fucking helpful, right? If you're at the gym, you don't know what to do, but you don't message me, that's not helpful. But the ones that do the work and realize they're in control, they're the ones that actually can get the results, but they also utilize the knowledge of their coach / me. They actually get really good results. It's just the ones that obviously the ones that fail, they don't take any action. They don't do anything. And then on top of that, they also don't communicate, because sometimes people are overwhelmed or they're afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, especially if you're hiring a coach. The coach's goal is to help you, but you have to help them help you sometimes, because we're not mind readers. I tell this every week to my clients. Like, I can't eat for you. I can't work out for you. And I can't read your mind. I wish I could. And then, like, I'd have not 100%, but I'd have like a 95% success rate. Right. Yeah.
And you're also like, you're not bothering us by asking us questions and asking us the same question multiple times. And even if you think it's silly, that is what we're here for. You pay us to answer your questions. So, never hesitate to ask a question and reach out and say, hey, well, I was thinking about this. What do you think? Even if it might seem silly, even if you asked it before, even if you just need reassurance, which oftentimes I find is true, where people ask a question and it's not that they don't know the answer. They know the answer. They just want to hear it from you as well. And it's not like they're not playing a game. It's not a bad thing in any way. It's just like I was thinking about, A or B, which one should I do? And you say A, and they're like, okay, great. I was thinking that too. I just wanted to make sure that I was like 100%. Thinking along the right path, and getting that confirmation from a quote unquote, figure of authority, coach, whatever, expert is, like that's great. That's half the battle. So
yeah, I've done that with like all my business coaches that I've ever hired, and I even did that with Nitish. Like, it's always good for peace of mind or just reassurance. I mean, sometimes but also sometimes the weird time they'll be like actually give you like the answer that you're not thinking is the right move. So then it's good to have the reassurance, or even just fundamentally, if they concur with what you're saying, then you are reassured. Like, I love like just having the reassurance,
Right. But sometimes, and this is the example, this is the value of the, again, quote unquote expert, is that they're able to think about things or see things from a perspective that you are not. You ask them A or B, and they say B when you thought it was A, and it's like, oh, well, it's B because of all of these other things that you didn't realize. Like, okay, great. I didn't consider that, this would have this trickle down effect of whatever, and that's why I should do the other option that wasn't the obvious one, kind of thing. So, tons of value, and this is why like we want you to ask us more questions and never feel like you're not, never feel like you're bothering us or anything like that. So
100%.
Good stuff, man. Is there anything else that, we can keep going for forever, but is there anything else that you was like really on your mind that you wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
I hate Epic. I don't know. That's about it. I love saying that, and any just throwing it out there. Don't take it. It's really useless. I've literally talked to at least 50 people at this point that have taken it, and they all hate it and they all regret it because it makes them feel nauseous. It's literally what it does. If you're a diabetic, go for it. The other thing I'd like to mention, as a PSA to the world, if you are overweight and you go to your doctor and you're like, hey doc, I'm overweight. I don't want to be overweight. And your doctor doesn't ask you well, granted, most doctors don't know anything about nutrition or exercise. Like my what is it called? My general doctor or my
GP, general practitioner.
Yeah, my GP, when I was younger, he was fatter than me. But, if your doctor just jumps straight to like, hey man, oh my God, no way, you're fat. Let's get you on Epic. Or, let's do gastric bypass surgery. Let's do liposuction. Can you find another fucking doctor, please? Or just maybe don't listen to him, or, maybe don't just like find another doctor, because if we're in Ontario or like Canada, like you gotta wait like a decade to do that, but get a second opinion. Like, I don't give a shit. You contact me, contact Daniel, contact literally anybody. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to sell a kidney to work with me. I'll literally just tell you, hey man, maybe just go for a walk. Maybe just not eat like shit. And then if you don't know what to do, then call me crazy. Instead of spending thousands on liposuction or gastric bypass surgery, which you will regret, or $500 a month on Ozempic to feel nauseous all the time, take that money and invest it into someone that's helped hundreds of people lose weight in your exact same position and has done it themselves.
Bang. I mostly agree with that. I think
wait, what's the one that you don't agree with?
We talked about this when we did your pod, I think, in a little bit more detail, and I don't want to get repeat it, but so go check out the podcast what number was it on your podcast?
I have no idea.
Whatever it was. Well, there's a podcast that I was a guest on Adam's show, and we talked about that a little bit more. But like, I just think that there's a time and a place for everything, and so it's not always and it's not often, but I do think that there's certainly a time and a place and a type of person and a scenario, for those drugs. I wouldn't blanket it to say like no one should ever take it ever. I think there's definitely
if you're diabetic,
a use case for it, excluding the diabetics, because from my view it's the same. It's working the same way. It's not working on anything that has to do with diabetes other than helping you lose weight. But anyways, I don't want to go too deep into it, because then we're going to get into another hour of that. But but yes, like it is certainly not a magic solution to everything. Otherwise everyone would just do it and it would be problem solved, and that's it. Obviously it's not. Like, there has to be lifestyle changes, there has to be nutrition changes, there has to be exercise changes. There's a lot of other stuff, and for most people, like, a lot of other stuff that can be attempted or worked on correctly before you get to that, right? Trying to diet by yourself for 1 week and going from eating, McDonald's 4 times a day to 3 times a day, like, that's a great start. But like, if that doesn't get you all the way to like living your perfect life, like, you shouldn't be surprised at that. So there's a lot of other things to do, but they just like, you got to be an advocate for your own health and for your own well-being. And that's maybe the take-home message there with, searching for another doctor. And it's okay to challenge, it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to question things. You don't just have to take everything at face value, because there's a lot of good information out there, there's a lot of bad information out there, and there are a lot of bad actors as well. But there are also a lot of good people out there. So, find them.
Well, and don't be afraid to invest into your health. Like, I mean, a lot of people, they're afraid to do that, or, they'll like go and spend hundreds of dollars a month on Uber Eats or McDonald's. And then like when it comes to spending money on their health to like get them to not be in the position that they don't want to be, they won't do it.
Yeah.
So I always tell people we're not going gambling here, bud. You're gambling with your life right now by not taking action, not changing, right? But, if you look at your bank statement, very high likelihood almost every single person blows at least $200, $300, $400, $500. And I'm not saying you have to give that to me. You could invest it into stocks. I don't give a shit, right? But don't blow it on shit that's going to make your health worse. So if you want actually to make your health better, it's an investment into your health. But people, they lose sight on that. And I don't know. When I reached out, well, granted, my dad reached out for me, but when the coach came and I had the conversation with the coach, I didn't tell him, hey, I need to think about it, because I knew I needed help. Right. And then I took action, and then the rest is history. Right. But a lot of people will just, nothing changes. Right. Like what's up with that, man? Like, come on now. We got one life. YOLO.
That's the main thing. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I love it. Where can people find you? What's the best place to get in contact with you?
Well, I have a podcast. I mean, I wouldn't really listen to that, honestly. I mean, it's good stuff, but like, what's more important, if anybody's on their own health and fitness journey, a lot of my stuff on YouTube, well, I mean, just follow YouTube. I have the podcast, but a lot of stuff is like mindset and, honestly helpful, informative videos about like nutrition and like mainly mindset. Honestly, most of the stuff I'm just dropping is mindset. And then, I also have a school community, where there's nothing to sell you. It's literally free. I got like 300 people in there, literally designed to help people even for free. I know, what a crazy concept. I don't want to sell someone like, well, I have no ability to ask you for your credit card on this community thing. There's just a bunch of videos and PDFs and resources. And then there's also a bunch of people inside on their own health and fitness journey, to help you stay accountable and motivate you. 'Cause a lot of people struggle with that. So I don't know. It's on my link I don't know. We'll link it somewhere, or just message me or some shit. And then I have Instagram, but my shit's banned on there. And what else is there? Yeah, YouTube's like the most important one in school, because like I try to literally, like, the law of reciprocity, like with the podcast or whatever, it's just as much, I want to give out as much free value as possible. If I can help someone for free and I don't even know they exist, and like a year from now they'll text me or DM me and they'll be like, yo bro, I watched your shit and I'm down 100 pounds. You know how fucking happy that would make me? And a lot of trainers lose sight on that. And so anyways, that's where Puffy got Buffy on basically everything. Yeah, and I have a website, and yeah.
Perfect. I'll link all that stuff, but I totally agree with you. Like, we give away information for free because we didn't invent this information, and we don't have any secret information. The information just exists, and we can give it out, and you don't hire us for information and for calculating macros, and that's not what you hire a coach for. You hire a coach to hold you accountable and provide the structure for your life. That's what it's for. So yes, we give away stuff for free, and in return for hoping that, one, you will help yourself, two, you'll feel better and improve your entire life, and three, maybe you'll hire us if you need additional assistance after that. But Puffy got Buffy everywhere. I will link all those things in the show notes. Is there any last message that you want to leave the people with before we close off?
I mean, I don't know. I think my life could have taken a much different route / not be living / breathing. So I'm kind of happy where things ended. But my last, I guess, if I had to like motivate someone, or if I had like a dying saying, I mean, I kind of touched on the Ozempic thing, but other than that, like, stop waiting, man. Like, it breaks my heart, because I know what it's like to feel like shit, to wake up and hate how you look in the mirror. And it's not a pleasant feeling. I don't like the thought, knowing how many people like get winded walking up the flight of stairs, or they get embarrassed because they have to get the seatbelt extender at the airport or the roller coaster, or they can't even fit on the fucking roller coaster. I know how all that feels, and it's just like, imagine if you didn't have to go through that. Like, to kind of do a comedic route on this, like, if you were to rewind the clock when I was 12 and just told me, like, hey man, if you lose weight, your dick's not going to be so small, I would have lost weight. You know what I mean? And so, like, But that's just kind of the funny note. But yeah, I would just, if anybody is on the fence, and this isn't like an advertisement to hire coaching services, okay? But it's literally just like, this is a health and fitness podcast. Get the fuck off the couch and go for a walk. And the next podcast you're going to listen to, if you've listened to this whole one on the couch right now, go for a walk and listen to it, because it just starts with small gradual changes. And I love saying consistency is over than failure, or consistency is better than failure. So don't think you need to go from 0 to 60, bro. You don't. Don't think you need to work out 500 times a week. You don't. Literally, like, if your steps right now is 500, shoot for 1,000, then from 1,000 to 1,500, then 2,000, and so on. And then these small gradual changes build into larger things, then build into habits. Then you can stack habits and stack wins. And, you just don't wait. Take action, bro. That's pretty much it. Cause like, you don't want to, please, like, don't wait until it gets too bad. Like, don't wait until you're 400, 370, 350. Your doctor tells you you're going to die. You have to go on blood pressure medication. You're pre-diabetic. It makes no sense. I understand it's hard to start and humans hate changes, but again, you don't need to fucking completely revolutionize and change everything about your life. Just don't wait, because nothing gets good if you wait. It gets worse.
Thank you, man. Very powerful. I appreciate you taking the time, being vulnerable, and sharing with us, and being open and honest as always, which I expected from you anyways, but it's always...
and that's the only way I go, bro.
It's always, because I know how you are. So yeah, exactly. But I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, because it's not always super common. So thank you. Puffy got Buffy on all the platforms. I'll link everything in the show notes. Thank you guys all for listening. Appreciate each and every one of you. Always make sure you give Adam a follow, send him a message, join his stuff. And that's that. Leave a review in the podcast, share the podcast with a friend, all those good things. We appreciate each and every one of you. Go outside, be a good person. See you next time.